So what is the best way to price your SEO services? I've been charging $500 a month for SEO, but would like to get that price up to a bit over $1,000 a month. How can you structure it so a business can justify a 1K a month expense and not leave after 3 months when you're still getting the site to rank?
Shit, Travis, I don't know how you're charging 500 a month really at this point.
Yeah,
That's
500 a
really
month
low in
is-
my opinion for what I'm guessing is full SEO services. What you've got to take into account when you're designing something like this has to do with your cost up front and what it's going to cost you in the form of time and actual money and effort to help a business. So you can help at $500 a month, but you're going to be pretty limited. So I guess it depends on a few variables. The targets you're going after and what their budgets could potentially be. When I worked for a big corporation that did SEO and the entire format was based on sales, a lot of the techniques we would use had to do with finding a vertical that you identify with and then learning everything about that variable or that vertical. So, let's talk about real estate agents or arborists. They all have their own lingo. Mechanics have their own lingo. You want to know how to talk to them in the form of how much they can make based on what you can do for them. Right? So even if it takes the same amount of money and effort for you to rank a bunch of different types of local sites, find the vertical that's right for you, learn their lingo. So in real estate, you'd be able to talk about, broker percentages versus real estate agent percentages. You'd be able to build a model based off of, let's say a house costs $250,000 in your metro, and you make this commission as the broker's agent. Etc. Right? And I can't even remember a lot of these because it's been years since I worked there. But the point was to put yourself on a level where you know how much business they do, what they can make off of one client, and then you're using that to justify what your monthly cost is.
Yeah, so you might not have access to this information, and the company might not either, depending on how well they actually have their stuff together.
Well, you're going to be able to find industry averages, right?
Yeah. So you take the average of, the average sale for their product. Then you're going to want to look at stuff like the, average conversion rate of a website. So you're taking in like how much traffic or expected traffic they would get right now, and then getting them to rank in top positions. And so you're saying, if I got you this much more traffic, that would mean this many more conversions. That would mean this much more money a month.
Right.
Right.
So take like keywords everywhere. So you're a real estate agent in Austin, Texas, which mind you, don't go after that SERP, fucking nightmare. But where you've got this many searches based on actual search volume. So you've got the actual data. People love to see that. And if I get you in the top 3 positions, all of this has data associated with it. So we know that, number 1 gets like almost 40% of all search traffic to that SERP. So, don't even start there. Imagine if I get you even in the top 3. So let's be very conservative. So you say top 3, you say based on this many monthly searches. Just imagine if I can get you just one client, what that's going to do for your business. And so never mind one client, I'm just saying one client to be extremely conservative. But most likely, if you sign on with me and I can help you out, you're going to be doing really well no matter how much you spend with me. And the more you spend with me, the better it's going to pay out for you. This also depends on how your business model is set up and how you sell SEO. Whether you're trying to sell keywords, which I would not advise, or whether you're just, designing long-term promotion and inflection in the SERPs for these people. Very different business models, both SEO though. But, speak their language and speak data and speak money. And let's say, because real estate isn't a very easy one to say, you just sell one, right? But let's say it's something with lower ROI. You're going to want to figure out around how many they'll need in order to pay back and then profit off of what they'd be spending with you a month. And you can pretty easily tell whether you're going to be able to do that for a client by doing proper keyword research and then measuring proper data, and then charging effectively.
Yeah, so, it's going to take a bit of just showing them like data, a bit of what they could, basically you show them what they're missing out on, right? You show them what they're missing out on, and then you justify your cost through what it would convert to in money for them, which is what they want. They want more money. So it just comes down to like how you're really doing your entire sales pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, $500 a month for SEO. I'm not sure what niche that would be in. Your problem might also be a niche problem. So for example, someone who's doing like auto detailing or something, they might not be able to afford as much as say like a dentist or whatever. So it might just be an issue of like who you're actually going after.
And to tie on a little bit more, because the last part of this question has to do, how can you structure it so a business can justify $1,000 a month in expense and not leave after 3 months when you're still getting the site to rank? Well, also in your sales pitch, you need to
Be honest.
be honest. You're not going to rank immediately. This is a long-term goal set that takes a little bit of time to ramp up. This is not a simple campaign.
You should be brutally honest with them. Anyone who's promising to, take $1,000 a month and rank them in the first 3 months is just blowing smoke up their ass in most cases.
Yeah, unless it's like a developed site or something.
It's possible, but in most cases, SEO moves pretty slow, So, you've got one of the biggest problems in SEO is you've got these people running around, they're over promising and they're just playing the numbers game, right? So they're not keeping any of their clients. All their clients are firing them. They're not sticking with them. But hey, they might get 3 months of business because they're offering lower prices than anyone else because customers just see that price amount and think it's going to...
Yeah, let's consider that too. It's like you're taking $500 a month for a local business. You're spending 3-4 months with them and then they're leaving because they didn't get what they were hoping they'd get. Well, if you take a higher amount of money from, a business that can afford it and kind of understands what you're doing, you're going to be able to utilize that budget and give them more positive inflection over time than, $500 a month. I can't really think of too many things where that's going to stretch real far unless you already own a bunch of the networks that you're using. I would say even $1,000 a month probably isn't where you want to start. I would say $1,500 minimum, yeah. So that you can actually profit yourself and then, make sure that you've got enough budget to also tackle their campaign.
Yeah, because when you're looking at $500 a month, let's say you're just an average person, you don't have your own link networks, let's say you don't have your own link building team.
Maybe you're writing content.
You could be doing all the outreach yourself if you're not really making that much money. Maybe you've got time on your hands. But let's just say you're buying the links. $500 a month, that could be 1 to 2 good links. That's really nothing. That's really not much at all.
It might help with like a old website that you want to sustain in the SERPs for a small local type of company. But as far as building something ground up, there's probably going to be too slow a movement. Even if you're showing them Ahrefs graphs and stuff like that, if it doesn't convert, the average business owner is not going to say, wow, that's really a neat link graph. They don't understand that kind of stuff. You've got to speak to them in terms they understand. That's always going to be money. So the idea should be to try and get them to a positive ROI within 6 to 8 months.
And just one more thing about the 500. If you've got clients and you're doing them all for $500 a month, because you're doing them for $500 a month, like I was saying before with buying links, that means that you do not have the money to outsource anything, right? It means that you don't really have the money to be paying to basically take the work off of your shoulders.
Right.
So that means for $500 a month, let's say you have 5 or 10 clients at $500 a month, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And that's work that you're going to have to do yourself if you want to see any profit. So by taking a bunch of clients, or even if just a few clients at $500 a month, you're putting a ton of work on your shoulders, and you're basically making it sure that you're never going to be able to dig yourself out of this hole that you're in, because you've just got a ton of work piled on you all the time, right?
Yeah.
You don't have any budget to play with to where you can say, my time is better spent here, and so I'll pass this part of I'll pass the link building budget off to this provider or whatever, so you can save your time on that. It's just not possible with a small budget. So another thing to think about would just be just not going after these small budget clients at all. It just could be a pretty detrimental thing to have.
Everyone I know, when I first started SEO, we would take $500 a month clients, but as soon as you're able to get out of that, it's like you remember it as a nightmare. There's a lot of stuff like selling PBN links at $5 a pop too is like a ancient nightmare for me. But you do what you got to do to get in there and win.
For sure.
Travis, I think I'm going to go ahead and put it on my list of to-dos to create a sort of pitch deck list for SEOs on how to attack certain verticals and how to create recipes that show data and profitability, because I think that would be useful. And I did it for a lot of years.
For sure.
That I've honestly kind of just forgotten that I don't do local anymore.
Yeah,
so.
we've been kind of neglecting local for a while now, and just all the hype's around affiliate. All the cool kids do affiliate. Not saying local is bad. It's probably
baby, e-com, come on.
It's probably easier to make money. It's a lot easier to make money in local, I think, actually. But,
I would agree. Yeah.
But then you have to deal with clients that only want to pay $500 a month.
Yeah.
So Travis says, good advice. I try to focus on service-based businesses, but guess I need to niche it down even further.
No, I mean, service-based is, again, this company that I worked for would only go after service-based, but we would, and I'm talking about over 500 agents, sales agents, would target specific verticals. So, my forte was real estate agents because I learned the lingo. We were doing 1 to 2 call close. So I'm talking about extreme aggressive hard sale. You had to know the lingo, you had to be sharp, and you had to practice it, right? So if you get into one vertical where you really understand it and you can jump 2 and 2, especially if you're doing phone sales, you're going to be able to keep this person's attention because they're like, hey, they're not just calling me like some dope SEO that only knows general SEO. This guy is in my vertical. And maybe you know how to do it for 5, 6 different verticals. It all sounds the same the more you rehearse it. So yeah, maybe we do some future sales lessons or something too.
But yeah, niching down is always a good idea. Like Nick's been saying, just like when you're ranking something, it's easier to rank something when you're niche down. You're also easier to like close local clients when you're more niche down. Mm-hmm. Like you said, you know the lingo. And not only do you know the lingo, but you know the process of actually ranking a site like that. You know where to get the links from, what the major links are that they need to have. Maybe they don't have their BBB, whatever. You know the ins and outs of the niche more. You're more efficient at actually doing the work itself. You're more confident, and yeah, you're able to show your expertise, and they're able to latch on to something that you're saying when you're talking to them that really will give them a better chance of actually closing with you, right?